Jake Shears, of course, not only a performer on stage, but you have written an award-winning musical, Tammy Faye. It's coming to Broadway. We saw it in London. I cannot wait for the American audiences to see this musical. Tell us about it.
I'm so excited. It opens at the Palace. Performances start on October 19th. It's about Tammy Faye Baker.
Yeah.
Who,
iconic.
She was married to Jim Baker. They were televangelists. In the 80s, they built this huge empire. And through scandal and tragedy, they kind of lost everything. But she was this, I think she was an amazing person. Mm-hmm. And the show is about her and her life and everything going on around it and the political context of what was going on around her.
And you co-wrote this with Elton John. And so, listen, when I go to musicals, I limit my musical experience. I like plays. But when I went to the show, it was like being at a Jake Shears and Elton John concert. The music is so good. And what I remarked was that you know, people in London or in the UK, I'm not sure how much they knew about Tammy Faye. And they still got it.
Yeah.
They really enjoyed it.
Well, that's making a good musical, even if somebody doesn't know necessarily who the person is, you want it to be a clear story, and you want them to learn something about who these people were. But it is, the music is like a perfect meld of mine and Elton's sensibilities together. Yeah. And it's fun, it's funny, it's sad.
Yes.
There's some really beautiful moments. Katie Braben she won the Olivier in the UK for playing Tammy Faye in this production. And she's just, she'll make you cry.
Yeah, she's a remarkable Tammy Faye.
How was it to collaborate with Elton John? Have you guys worked together before?
You know, we wrote a bunch of Scissor Sisters stuff together. The biggest Scissor Sisters song, I Don't Feel Like Dancing, we wrote together.
It's a great one.
He's like a father to me. I mean, we've been friends for a couple decades, and we've worked on this show for over a decade. And writing with him is special. I just pinch myself every time we're in the studio together. And making this show in particular, you know, I'll bring in the lyrics. He shuffles through, figures out what he wants to work on, sends me out of the room or out of his eyesight. Mm-hmm. So I have to either like hide under a table or around a corner. And then I sit there and I listen to him start to make a structure and make the chords and start singing. And when he's ready, he calls me back in, and then we stand there together and work through it. It's magical. It's just like I still pinch myself.
Yeah, the story is it's so fascinating, and I remember I was a kid when Jim and Tammy Faye were huge.
Yeah.
Were at their pinnacle. And I remember the fall, I remember all of it, but you are much younger than I am. What inspired you to write a story about them?
Well, I loved Tammy Faye growing up. I grew up in a Christian household, and I knew who Tammy Faye was. And then when their downfall sort of happened, it was just, you know, it was kind of like, it was the biggest media circus that the United States had ever seen. Mm-hmm. And you know, I just always loved her, and I loved her attitude, I loved her optimism. She always reminded me of my own mother. Mm. And so, to me, there's a lot of my mom in this show. Mm-hmm. Hi, Mom. And Dad.
Well, listen, I'm so glad you brought it to New York. It's gonna be massive. Get your tickets for performance of Tammy Faye. They start on October 19th at the Palace Theater on Broadway.